So I've never really been like a huge podcast kind of guy. I've gotten, a million different podcast recommendations from people like I know and that are close to me and that I actually trust their opinions on whatever it might be. But whenever I've been given like a recommendation, there's been about a 25% chance that I actually go ahead and check out whatever's been referred. And, like within that 25%, I've listened to some stuff that I never really felt like revisiting, to be completely honest, especially when it comes to like, two just absolute bros talking aimlessly with a mic for several hours. Dude, come on. But, huge but, now that I'm getting settled into my new routine at work where like I'm getting up at 5:30 every day for work and then immediately getting on the treadmill and I'm hitting about 2 to 3K steps, and that's usually somewhere around 20 minutes. I started just going online and looking for new things to watch while I'm sitting here or standing here walking on the treadmill. And what I ended up finding, and this was at the top of this week, was this like condensed podcast. It's only like 25 minutes per each episode by this guy, Matt Diavella, where everyone who is a guest has to give kind of like their 3 rules, whether it's like 3 rules for success or 3 rules that have, made them happier, whatever the case may be. It's called 3 rules, I think. I don't know, I'll throw a screenshot up, but I've absolutely been enjoying each one of these episodes. And since it's been going on for a minute, I've now seen most of them. So based on that podcast, there are a couple rules that kind of stuck with me that I ended up, talking about like friends or to my girlfriend about after the fact, and then even having conversations from or referencing other like literature, other videos that have talked about like similar ideas. And I just wanted to get into them, to be honest. Like I could talk about lifting, but you're going to see the lifting and I'll probably talk about it more towards the end of the video, but right now, this is what's on my mind, so let's just kind of jump in. So the first rule that stuck with me, and I think I lucked out because this was the first video that I had watched from this, condensed podcast anyway, was that change is an opportunity, not a threat. Now, going through the changes of getting a new job is something that, now I'm starting to get used to. Like, this is early adulthood. This is kind of the time to try out different forms of work, try to see what you're into. Obviously, like graduating with an engineering degree sets you up for an engineering job, and I finally got that, and now I'm at the end of my 5th week working here, and it's been really cool so far. But I remember in my first like 1 or 2 weeks, I was just like, wow, this is a lot of change. There's a lot of things that I'm not really used to here. There's a lot of things that I don't know. And trying not to get caught up in the fact that all of this change is an opportunity to grow and not just, confrontation with things that you don't know, was not necessarily difficult, but something that I realized like, oh, this is what's going on. Like I'm aware that this is now time for me to learn how to really be an engineer. Like college just kind of wasn't it. Now, to just kind of pull from a different example, while also starting that new job, I figured I might as well try out a new gym. Houston, pretty fortunate to have access to a bunch of different powerlifting gyms, regardless of like what side of town you're on. And closest to my place of work was Rise, so I went to go check it out. And while it really nice gym, very well put together gym, I felt like this wasn't change that I wanted, I guess. Like picking a gym is a very subjective thing, and you can look for certain qualities in your gym. I like Iron Sight because it's not as pristine. I like it because it's not as like clean looking and everything being brand new as Rise was. And I'm not saying this in a way that would insinuate Iron Sight's like dirty. I'm just saying like you want more of a hardcore, or I want more of a hardcore gym experience. Like I want it to be a little bit rougher around the edges. And I realized like, oh, within this opportunity, I'm learning what I don't really like in a gym. And while nice equipment is nice equipment, and that place was fantastic for sure, I just don't really feel like it was for me. And then on top of that, my schedule in training and going there didn't really match up with any of the people that I did actually like to talk to who go to that gym. So I was just kind of like, okay, no friends here most of the time when I'm here anyway, and I don't absolutely love the atmosphere. I think it's time to go. That change presented me with the opportunity to go like, okay, do you like this or not? Like, what do you actually like? And I know from previous experience, like I definitely appreciate more of like a, hey, no frills, this is a powerlifting gym kind of experience when it comes to training. Just like throwback to like the first Project Strength. But yeah, since Rise wasn't really that, I just decided to move on. Got the membership canceled earlier this week, and now training at Iron Sight like every session once again. But I do feel like the idea of change being an opportunity and not a threat can be looked at from different ways, especially when we talk about like responding to criticism, for example. So I feel as though, previously anyway, I used to be a bit more on the defensive when it came to, I don't know, looking introspectively and maybe changing some things about myself. Because, not everyone loves to hear that they might need to change something, that they might be doing something wrong, or that they might need to be doing something a little bit differently. And now that I'm like 25, I've definitely grown from that point and learned like, okay, this is probably just helpful information and you can improve based on this helpful information. Like, this isn't a threat, this isn't an attack. You don't need to, I guess, respond in any kind of malicious way. Just take this and apply it. And that's something big with work, for example, where like if you can't accept criticism and apply the necessary criticism, you're probably not going to go that far. But then also just in life, whether it's like your relationship or how you treat your friends, like this is all pretty important. So another bullet point from the 3 rules for like life, work, whatever the case may be. Whether you believe you can or you can't, you're absolutely right. And this wasn't highlighted as one of the rules. I think this was just like mentioned in conjunction with one of them. I don't even remember what the original one was, because I'm not gonna lie, like I do write down a lot of things in my little notes app, but the original rule completely gone. But regardless, whether you believe you can or you can't, you're absolutely right, goes kind of hard, in my opinion. Because it's really just saying like, okay, if you think you can do this, you got it. Like, just apply yourself and truly believe like, oh, this is something I'm capable of. I might just need to get there. Cool, that's fantastic. I feel like this is also pretty important or pretty reflective of having like a growth mindset. And this is something that I have to bring up, or something that I typically bring up in like interviews, just so that way I can use it as a talking point to say like, hey, I'm here to learn. I'm willing to learn. I'm willing to be like malleable to like whatever the processes are, and then maybe looking for ways to like improve in any potential way. And this isn't an interview, man. This is YouTube, so I'm gonna keep it chill. But I did end up talking to my girlfriend Cora about this, and I believe like she pulled out a book that she was reading. I don't remember. I think it's like Breaking the Habit of Being Yourself is the name of the book. And she showed me a passage, and it goes, in fact, the more you formulate an image of your behavior in a future event, the easier it will be for you to execute a new way of being. Now, if you're really only here for lifting and you're just like, bro, please cut out the life advice, and okay, we can talk lifting real quick. And I feel like applying, the passage that I read a second ago, but then the lifting context really just goes into being nervous for hitting whatever top set or whatever top single, or even, comp day, hitting whatever lift, and just visualizing yourself actually doing it. Like, just truly believe for a second and picture yourself actually doing the thing that you're now getting all nervous about. And you just might not be so nervous. I can't lie to you and say that I've never been nervous on comp day, but personally, it's really just until the squat opener. After that, we're just kind of moving. I feel like the idea of formulating an image of your behavior or visualizing yourself doing something can also be driven by momentum pretty easily. So that's why I say the nerves are typically limited to the squat opener, because afterwards, we've already done it successfully once. Now we just need to successfully keep doing something. I don't believe that to be that hard. once you started, you can just keep going. You can start anything at any point in time. Just finish. Just keep going. Once you can visualize yourself actually finishing out whatever task you're picking up, then cool, you're having a great time. So yeah, two of the three rules. That's all I really covered today. And I honestly think I'm just gonna roll with this. Y'all saw the lifts. Like, this is so far, I think, one of the strongest blocks I've ever been able to put together. And we are now, I think, what, sub 7 weeks? Let me check the. Yeah, we are 56 days. So 8 weeks, my fault. 8 weeks out, I'm still hopeful. I'm feeling pretty strong, and my coach is saying like, oh, these are some of the highest like start points we've had for blocks. So we're looking pretty good. And as far as the projected end of the block, I'm excited. So that's not a bad indicator. So now I just need to visualize myself actually doing it and keep doing what I'm doing, and surely I'll be there. That's all I got. Thanks for watching. Appreciate everyone who still like watches these. This is insane. And there was one comment who talked about being one of the 10 people at the end of the video. Shout out to you, man. Like, what? That's cool. That's cool.